welcome back to the newly branded Amtrak 2012 Rail Fanning channel. Today we're going to be doing a exclusive tour of the Cinder and Lassen Valley Railroad. Now, this map or railroad does not exist in real life. However, this is just a made-up railroad in my cousin's Lassen map that he is recently making content on. As you can see, we'll be doing a private tour of all the stations. So we'll start off with View Lake Campground. This is the first station along this whole trip. Well, main boarding platform. As you can see right here, we got like timelines telling history about our railroad and pretty much everything about it. Our newest one is this year when the 4th of July became a huge success hit. However, we did have a little earthquake and eruption, and actually Fairfield Peak recently erupted not too long ago. However, it is officially calm. So this is one of my trains right here. This is the Santa Fe War Bonnet. Um, this is one of our many diesels in the fleet here at the CC and OVR. I do have a steam locomotive. However, this one was supposed to be running the day the eruption on Fairfield Peak happened and severely halted the tour train. So it's been sitting here for a while at the station platform. So, uh, so pretty much it's gonna be out. But tomorrow we'll be we'll be returning scheduled tour train. Out here is just display track for special events. Um, Back behind these trees is our roundhouse where the diesel will normally be stored. Um, Here's a relatively new building. This is a waiting and sitting room. So during the 100-degree heats in the summer, most people would want to relax and cool off in the heat. Well, we got all of it. Unfortunately, air conditioning is not working, so it's currently closed. However, the door's still open, just I still need to block it off. And I will be doing it straight after this video. Uh, Station platform, sunroof, as you can see. Um, and then here's the original ticket booth. So this is where you grab your tickets before eventually afterward um, online tickets came out. And you can still get paper tickets or you can do online. Um, but yeah, so now we're going to leave Butte Lake on the first set of crossings. This is one of the originals put in 1958. Then we're going to come up to newer ones, as you can see. And all of this is Butte Lake Campground. So I'm going to hover up just to show you guys. So there it is. So you got the little trails. They're not really too accurate, but I mean, I guess I could do for now. So then we got Fairfield Peak over there. I'll get to it in just a minute. Cinder Cone, Prospect, and Pinnacle Peak. Pinnacle Peak doesn't really actually exist in real life, I don't think. If I'm wrong, yet again, please correct me. So then we're gonna head over the Painted Dunes, and we'll get us a better view from up here. So here's where the train track runs, and yeah, we do have a lot of separate main lines on the Senecon fleet. However, they're used for special excursion trains, or once a week they'll be used for our tour trains. Then we come to our first stop, Fairfield to Prospect Peak Junction. Now this area, as you can see, went through pure hell, and that was because Fairfield Peak and Humpback Cone over there had eruptions recently, as I was saying earlier. These are the dried up lava flows. We had to dig through them because, well, we don't want to get rid of all of it. As you can see, the arch has been redone. We have the original ticket booth. And yet again, the dangerous part about the station is the track is literally in the middle of the platform. Later on, we will be adding yellow lines right through here, but for now, there'll be announcements saying to clear the way and stand away from the tracks. Alright, so then we're going to continue on. Then we're going to come up to, if I could get stuck out of the trees, the F&PY, short for Fairfield and Prospect Peak. This line actually takes you out to Shasta and the Pacific Northwest map that we also created ourselves using World Painter. And there's more volcanoes out that way, including Old Station. However, those in a separate video. Now we're going to continue on the straightaway up to Humpback Cone, which is right here. Also recently had an eruption with Fairfield Peak. As you can see, the trestles were replaced. They were originally wood. However, due to the impending eruption and lava flow coming straight down, we had to turn this trestle into protective steel and iron. And as you can see, it still holds up. And here's the remains of lava flow from Humpback. Trees still have to be replanted. Some of them were burned. And now we're going to be coming up to our second station, which is Hat Mountain, which Hat Mountain is right here in front of us as we speak. And as you can see, we have trees here as well. Recently, a log fell down on the tracks, and it was pulled up from a crane that was used by the CC&LVR, and track was replaced, so everything is all good. However, this track is only used for like bypassing trains in case that the tour train is stopped and a local freight is coming down this way, so they could use this one. Oh yeah, I didn't explain the history of the old stations. So, Cinder and Lassen Valley originally built these sunroof awning stations in the 70s. The first one was Fairfield Peak, which we recently saw before coming, and Hat Mountain was the second, built in 1974. And then we have the brand new ticket office, because this was actually renovated actually. So we have parking lots, a little trail to get up to it. Here's the parking lot itself, and then you'll have to take a little bit of a hike to get up here, and then uh, in in real life, Hat Mountain does not have a hiking trail. However, it's Minecraft, and we can do whatever we want, so we decided to add one. And oh yeah, here's our signature flag. This is the CC&LVRR flag, and it's one of our flagship flags, one of the originals. So now we're going to continue down the slope right here. We don't talk about that. And then right up here on the Y is the Hat Mountain Mining Company. It is, yet again, not an existing real life thing. This was just fictional. So the story goes in the 1800s, the railroads were used by the Southern Pacific to haul coal out of Hat Mountain because a diamond deposit was struck in the 1880s, and everyone wanted them. And unfortunately, during Lassen's eruption, it caved in the mines for Hat Mountain and eventually shut down in 1915. Um, it is no longer in use, and is only it just sits here abandoned, as you can see. Um, Feel free to leave comments below on what the railroad should do next. Um, we do have future renovation plans for it. If you guys have any other suggestions that I should probably do for this, feel free to let me know, and I'll see what I can do. So now we're going to be crossing over the Lassen Volcanic National Park highway that goes up to Komiamani and the south entrance. Then we're coming up on Fairfield Peak, Breeding Peak. And this is the last station built, 1976. Here's the original platform. Unfortunately, the awning is not above the station. Just like Fairfield Peak, you can see how narrow it was. However, it was more cramped when the station was around. So that's the reason why a new one was built right there. Here's the old railroad crossing. Originally we did have like electronic devices, hence is why this power box is right here. However, that remains, and same with this. Unfortunately, the electronic crossings don't exist anymore. We do have a line that goes out to Shingletown, as you can see by the sign. This line connects to Shingletown. If you guys don't know what Shingletown is, it's a small little town located near Lassen Volcanic National Park. In real life, I don't know the full town history. However, I do know it's just small and it's pretty much boring. Um, but yeah, this line actually connects out there and towards the town of Mineral, which is where the um, Lassen Park headquarters is. Then we're gonna climb up more, and then cross over the Lassen Peak Highway two more times. Well, three more, I should say. Here's the second set of crossings recently put in. Here is the older crossing sign right here. This one was put in the first year it started operation, 1966. Um, then in front of us is the Lassen Folks Tunnel. This was based off of the Disneyland Railroad diorama that I built, well, that I've seen a couple times. I can't, um, well, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to bust through the glass, so I gotta make sure I got it. Yes, this is all my stuff. Alright, Alright, let's put it back up. I'll get through it afterward. Alright, so this is the Lassen Folks diorama from the inside. So we got a railroad crew, and then his train without any cars. Um, then we got the four Lassen people that are just striking a pose. They've been like that since 1966. I should remind you. Fake trees, a little tent. Looks like they got a campfire cooking. Gnats, flies. Yes, guys, we do have a smoke mod. Um, we do have a smoke mod for Minecraft, and wherever the smoke goes, it'll light the object on fire, whether or not it's wood. Um, so I gotta make sure it just stays like that. So I'm gonna do that each time. And then here's like a little snow patch and waterfall. So that will do it for the last next tunnel. So now we're back on the Lassen Peak Highway again. As you can see, here's what remains of the old Lassen logging line. There used to be a logging railroad in the 1890s, early 1920s. However, during the eruption, there was a landslide that occurred and buried parts of the track in. So the track is still remaining right in here. However, we can't dig through it because this is actually classified as a volcano now. Um, so eventually they had to rip it up for new renovations of the highway. Here's Lake Helen, named after the first woman to hike Lassen Peak in the 1850s to 60s. And then we're going to cross over the 2-mile long bridge, as I call it, because this is actually 2 miles long. Little Hot Springs Valley is down in that area. And then Sulphur Works, one of the smelliest parts of Lassen itself. And then Bumpus Hell. I'd say Bumpus Hell, parking for it would probably be right here where this bridge is. And then you'd hike all the way up there towards the highway, and then Bumpus Hell would be right there. And once again, guys, go check out my cousin's YouTube channel, because he actually posted videos of our Lassen trip that we took. Everything was posted, similarity photos of the railroad versus real life, and many other things. And then we're gonna cross over the last bridge, Then we're gonna go downhill, and then that's when we enter Komiamani. One more crossing over the highway again. Um, this line yet again takes you out to the Mineral Pacific, aka the Shingletown branch, and then we make a turn, and then there's the station. That one actually still has its original station. Later on, we will be adding a parking lot. However, currently right now, we're on a tight ship. And then in here is the owner of the CCNLVR itself, the Lassen Peak Railroad Association. And theoretically, I'm the owner of the association itself. Alright, well, that'll about do it for the whole tour. I will take you guys on a tour one more time. So, um, let's go ahead and fly over these rails and head back to Butte Lake. So while we're flying right now, let me go ahead and give some information about this railroad. In the 1950s, the Shasta Pacific Railroad Museum, which was hosting excursion trains every day from Saturday and Sunday, um, they built a whole lot of locomotives that would eventually go on to become part of their excursion train. They built nearly over 20 steam locomotives and nearly 15 diesel locomotives. However, their fleet was expanding and the roundhouse was getting smaller after a fire burned down the original 30-stall roundhouse in the 1970s or in the 1950s. They needed Most of the trains needed a new home to go to, and eventually they chose an area here in Lassen Volcanic, as at the time they weren't attracting much visitors to the park. So they asked National Park Service, "How would you like a train ride between Lassen Volcanic National Park from Butte Lake, which is what you guys own, to Konyamani, which is where the south entrance is?" They said, "Sure." So they built over 20 miles of branch, and eventually on August on August 26th, 1966, the railroad officially opened. Um, this August 26th will be reaching its next anniversary. Um, I don't know the exact numbers at the current moment, but it will be celebrating its anniversary, so we will be having at least 2 trains running. Stay tuned to my cousin's Discord page that he has about this map, and stay detailed for updated Seneca and Lassen Valley events. And I should mention one thing about this. Unfortunately, due to the 2026 people of now, I know that most people like to pretty much people don't really care about railroading now in 2026. So unfortunately, the map will not be free drive. So, but however, there will be some joy as for those who actually want to run the steam trains here in our Minecraft map. You can actually go onto my page or my cousin's page and fill out a Google application to run our steam trains. So you'll be starting off as a low rank from trainman, conductor, switchman, engineer, and then eventually ticket manager. Ticket manager is one of our highest ranks because you get paid higher on it. And without further ado, that brings us back to Butte Lake Campground. And I don't know why my train is moving. Well, folks, that'll be doing it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you subscribe to my cousin's YouTube channel, as he is the actual owner of this map. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.